Okay, doing a little review on a new Graco Magnum Project Painter Plus airless sprayer that we bought yesterday for $239, I think it was. It's assembled and just about ready to go. I just got to flush it because they leave a little bit of preservative oil inside the mechanism to protect it. So we'll flush it and we'll start painting. I've already primed this using a Wagner. I was not impressed with a Wagner handheld gun, so hopefully this will do a lot better. I bought an extension tip for it so I can get the sealing a little easier to have to get on a ladder, on and off a ladder. So we're gonna put this to the test and see how it does. And we'll let you know. Okay, so I got my 5-gallon bucket of paint already mixed up. I just took the top off and mixed it up with a drill with a bit on the end of it to start up. I got a 5-gallon bucket of water that the machine's sitting on and a waste bucket over here. The directions are pretty nice. They're on a waterproof laminated sheet that tells you exactly how to go through everything. The only issue I see here is this particular unit doesn't have a prime button, which is normally located right here. My finger's pointed. It says to push that prime button a couple times to loosen the check ball. So I just did, this is in a prime position, this lever's in a prime position right here. When you go to paint, you push it down and that kind of activates the flow through the valve to the paint, or from the paint up through the valve to the sprayer. But for initial cleaning, we're using the paint, which is water-based, so we're running water through the machine initially to get the protection fluid, the fluid they put in it to protect the machine and shipping and for long-term storage so it doesn't corrode. So we're going to flush that out first. It says separate the two tubes. The big tube, you can see in the bucket right down there, is going to suck the water up, and it's not going to spray out through the hose. It's going to spray into this bleeder hose right here, and you can see some of the blue fluid in there right now. This it's kind of like an antifreeze protection fluid, but it's anyway, we're going to go through that now and let that bleed out of it. Turn on. The next thing directions say is to, we already get this on start right here, on the start position, do that. We got it in prime. It says to take this off of prime. We're supposed to have the trigger lock on the gun, so to prevent it accidentally from triggering like that right there, which you can't trigger it, okay? It says to take the tip and put it on the anti-clog, unclogged position, which see how the arrow's pointing backwards, going back in the gun. That's the unclog. It says to start it like that until you get flow, and then stop, re-trigger, guard the gun, and then reverse it and put it in the correct direction so the arrow's pointing out that way to paint, and then we should be good to go once we spray a little paint in the bucket and get the water out of the system. And so we're gonna try it, give it a shot, and see how it does. Suction hose in the bucket of paint right there. We still have our drain hose in the waste bucket, and we turn on again, and we get fluid until we get paint going through that. Then we're going to stop it. We're going to turn this to spray position, which is down. We already have our tip in the unclogged position right here. Then we'll spray some in there until we get paint out of it. Then we'll stop, rotate the spray knob to the spray position down here, and then we should be ready to spray. We'll spray some out into the bucket, see what we got, and then we'll start shooting. right position. I'm not going to show this part because I don't want to get the camera dusty with the spray, but I'm basically going to take the wand and spray it in there until I get white paint into that bucket. Then I'm going to stop, and then I'll take this hose right here, the drain hose, attach it to the hose that's in the bucket, and we should be able to start painting. And we'll let you know. I'm not impressed at first. I'm going to have to take the extendable wand off and see if maybe that's causing a problem, because it's not putting out hardly any paint, as you can see right there on the floor where I tried to spray for the last few minutes. Not impressed so far. Okay, took the extension wand off. Still no impressive results. So even though this thing says you don't have to thin the paint, looks like I'm gonna have to try and thin the paint and see if that works. The other thing is the hose is longer than it should be for a 5-gallon can, so it's a pain to keep it in the freaking right place in the barrel, which is another negative point in this thing. So right now I'm not impressed with this machine at all. Okay, after calling custom service, because I reprimed the pump, I could hear the pump load when I reprimed it using the lever right here in the down position, or the straight out position. Then when I tried to spray it, the pump immediately shut off. And if I messed with the lever, I'd get it turned on and off. So I called customer service thinking, hey, the paint's too thick, or it's not supposed to spray whatever you got. Called them up, and after about 5 minutes, the guy said, you try pressing the trigger, we'll turn it back on. Well, not thinking, okay, I guess this pump will, once it builds up the right amount of pressure, it will shut off and then turn back on once the gun needs more pressure to operate. And when I did that, I got a good spray when I released the lever, so I'm making an assumption that it finally did prime good. Maybe the tube, because it's so long, was not really in the bucket of paint, or I just didn't prime it good enough. But now that looks like I got some pressure, I'm going to try it again, and we'll let you know how it goes. Okay, so got done doing the painting, got the plastic taken off and the taping, and it came out really good. I was a little heavy in a couple spots when I first started using it over here. I had to touch up a little bit, but overall that thing did a tremendous job, and it saved a lot of time. I painted this door here, and I got a few runs on it that I was able to feather out, but it looks pretty good for an airless sprayer, and I am quite happy with this machine, and I'm looking forward to using it again. The cleanup kind of sucked. It took probably half an hour, 45 minutes to clean it up using water, and I put a few drops of dish detergent in with it when I flushed it through the machine. But overall, I would give this out of 5 stars. I'd give it 5 stars because it's a very, very nice unit. The Magnum Project Painter Plus True Airless Sprayer by Graco. Very happy with it. I'm looking forward to using it on the outside of the house when I get to do some outside painting. I do have a little touch up because when I masked it, I didn't mask it perfectly in every place, but overall, happy with how it came out. And if you're thinking about buying one of these, go for it. It's a good tool. Paid like $139 for it, $239.